I'm Chris Hartley, CEO of Custodia Technology. My background is I've worked with carrier services, our service providers, for past 23 years, building multinational service platforms for multiple verticals. These include banking, finance, insurance, and governments, even including energy. Using this experience to actually help build the CC1 service has been instrumental. Custodia is an organization now hitting its 7th anniversary. It originates predominantly servicing the financial markets for support of capture on-prem infrastructure and managing those infrastructures. It now owns its own SaaS service. Its SaaS service is basically much broader now. It's broader in regards to the vertical markets it supports for regulations. Due to its capture, assurance, and archive capabilities, Custodia also has on its board 75 years plus combined through its senior management team of working in the regulated markets. What is regulated digital data, and what do we mean by regulated digital data? So regulated digital data is data that needs to be stored for record-keeping processes. It can cover multiple scenarios and multiple types of data. So communication data, this can include emails, conference calls, telephone calls, IM, messaging, even down to now third-party OTT applications, the WhatsApps, the WeChats. Other types of data can include log data. This can be digital audit data. One scenario that we have recently where we've been investigating is around the chemical industry. Data to prove that chemicals are moved, and this is audit data. Interactive data. So what do we mean by interactive data? CRM data, HR data. And this can even help the actual organization benefit from utilizing this data, not just storing and archiving this data for regulated purposes. Sensor data, so OT data. Organizations that are now moving more and more sensor efficient, organizations that are utilizing autonomous systems now need to collect and store that data for those industries. So what industries need to archive regulated digital data? Well, it's essential for many industries to archive regulated digital data. Take finance, for instance. MAR, MiFID II, enforces that basically communications should be captured. If you look at GDPR data as another one around the service industry, the type of data we're collecting and where that data needs to be stored and how it needs to be archived is essential to that industry. But you can go on and on and on. Look at energy markets, healthcare markets, pharmaceutical markets, all need to keep data that at one time could have been paper, now it's digital data, regulated digital data, and that needs archiving, storing effectively, efficiently, and with a partner you can trust. CC1 is a service built by Custodia, a service that enables organizations in capturing, securing, and archiving digital data. It also has a model for assuring that data to see if any data records and alerting on those data records are actually accurate. It's important to think that for organizations, certainly in the finance and in other worlds, have been archiving data now for a long period of time. And Custodia has built a model that allows organizations to bring that data to the cloud, digitalize, and centralize. If you look to the bottom left hand of the triangle, this is an actual model we've built for organizations, allowing them to be regulated and keep regulated data to assist with their compliance needs. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the module for third-party systems. This allows organizations to plug and play and bring, with an audit trail, that data to the cloud. The centralized module allows organizations to capture cloud to cloud, cloud to on-prem, or OT data. And let me explain that a bit more. So a lot of organizations still have third-party systems that are on-prem. The likes of the Cisco systems from communications, IPC from the financial systems. Custodia's system allows it to go hybrid and capture that data. The second point is it then might be messaging. Everybody's talking about WhatsApp, WeChat. How do we capture this? Custodia's system allows a seamless integration, allowing the capture of the WeChat, the OTT applications. Teams data. So basically, if it's a cloud to cloud, it could be Teams, it could be Zoom, It can be far broader in regards to what our actual capabilities are. The most point here is about actually being able to capture what we call live communication data. Also in this module is where OT captures this. So that's IoT, sensor data. So we have the ability to bring that data in, validate, assure that data, and archive that data. If you look to the right-hand side, you will see CRM systems. So this is where we can bring CRM systems in, HR systems, all of that type of data to bring it in. Custodia then have the ability to pull all of the metadata that it's captured and centralize and normalize that data. So it's a copy of that data. It utilizes that data then to go out with its third-party systems and connect to see if any actual records are missing and reconcile. It also puts audit and policy around it. So if there are records missing, we can audit on those records. Some people utilize CDR reconciliation. What Custodia has found is CDR hits a certain point, but Custodia doesn't use CDR unless it's the only way it can do it. It integrates directly to those devices in real-time feeds to see if organizations are making calls, moving data, whatever it might be, to create that data, to reconcile that data. UI. On the top of the model, you'll see UI interface. This is for organizations to actually go into that data, look at that data. If it's a communication record, play back that data. Put audit around that data so they can actually hold tickets on that data within the system. If you go to the right-hand side, you'll see API. This is an MTLS API, which means it's dual authenticated. What does that mean? It means certification to certification before people can access the data. And this is built for our organizations that utilize the system to be able to now utilize that data. Custodia look at compliance and say, for many years now, a lot of data, regulated data, has been captured. And it's probably come at a high cost to be able to enable those systems to capture that data. But now they can use that data. Machine learning, AI, all of the other third-party systems can now learn from that data, and that data is now actual business enabling. How has CC1 adapted with AI? As I mentioned before, AI is now growing. Machine learning models are now growing. Custodia's model, in fact, compliance solution here, if you look at it, is more of a middleware solution from a tech perspective. It's capturing, it's archiving, it puts, I'm not going to say a tick because you can't put a tick. It's supporting these organizations, right, in capturing and managing that data. But AI needs data. It needs clean data. It needs validated data. Due to the CC1 service, this is what it now enables. And it's very granular. So AI needs to be able to capture data, move data, understand data, which is what Custodia does. But at the same time, you don't want to look from a security standpoint and say, okay, I want to plug in my AI system for my HR or AI system for my business intelligence. What you want to be able to do is go down to a very granular security level. The API definitely does this. And this is one of the big things that I'd make sure that from organizations looking to use data, looking to transfer data, that they can get down to that user interface. And I'll give you an instance, and let's talk about communications. Communication, you might have a user that has a Teams, which is Microsoft Teams, a Cisco, an IPC turret in the financial world, and you might not want to release all of that data. You might want to release specific data. Ensuring the data that is actually shared with AI systems or any third party is paramount. But there's one other thing in regards to data. Being able to reconcile. So you might actually, third party might take that data, but you want to be able to reconcile what data they've taken and when they've taken it. This is another thing that Custodia do, and I would suggest that any third party that is utilizing a data management system to power AI has that granular control and also the ability to reconcile what data is shared with who. CC1 as a service, like most services, are needed across multiple vertical industries around regulated data, capture, assurance, and archiving of that data. I think one of the key things around the market is also ensuring that providers are utilizing a product process that enables regulations or up and coming regulations to feed in it. So Custodia use Afore Consulting in Europe, and we work heavily with our public affairs to ensure that our product roadmap is well in advance for ensuring that the requirements that are coming from the regulators, from these central points, are built within the actual product roadmap. So where do I see this moving forward? There is constant growth in the data market. The types of data now being captured are going broader and broader and broader. So what does that actually mean? One, for regulators, how regulators look at regulations, build regulations in regards to that data set as they're moving forward, and the capabilities that are now within those systems to actually capture more data. So to ensure that regulations are in place and they're enforceable, but also how does that affect the business? I think that from a business perspective, this is actually a positive thing, because from a regulator, it's protecting the consumer, or it's protecting the environment, or it's protecting whatever it is sat behind it from ensuring these records are kept. It's now empowering businesses to build AI systems, to build machine learning systems, to benefit the business, to bring the business to a digital front, data-driven business. And that is what Custodia now drive into the market, empowering that regulated data, that dark data, to be utilized for business benefit, not just from a regulation standpoint of record keeping.